AfterBuzz TV Network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Shameless After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Shameless After Show.
Welcome, everybody. Vegas for doing. We're here doing Season 3, Episode 11, Order Room Service. I'm your host, Phil Svitek. I am back. Thank you, JK and Drea, for holding it down last week with EJ.
You're welcome. We're glad to have you back.
Yes, we are.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back. And we have a special guest here today.
Yes.
And before I introduce him, I want to tell everyone how he came to be here.
Oh.
It was funny because I guess he must have caught our episode with Laura Wiggins. And then he had sent us an email and just randomly, and I was like, JJ, get on this right now.
Immediately. Yeah.
And so we have the character of Beto here in studio.
That's me.
Yay.
Real name, Bernardo de Paula.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you found us.
No, please. You guys have been doing a great job. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to, I'm a fan just like you guys, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. We'll certainly talk with you more at length. But, we were talking outside, and you said you knew about the show and you loved the show before you got involved. So that's
even better.
And I actually had no knowledge of the British version. I hadn't seen it. I only became addicted to this version, this incarnation, as it were. And it was a blessing and a half just to be involved. I mean, it's just different.
And for those of you watching, he does have shorter hair.
Yes, I do. I chopped it all up. And I don't talk like this all the time. I only do that when they pay me.
So yes.
When I saw him on the street, I'm like, I think that's him.
Yeah, I'm undercover.
Disguise.
Well, let's start off with Frank and Karl, because obviously the title derives from the ending scene with those two, but let's start at the beginning. Frank's homeless and he's pissed off and all that. And, here's the thing that we still haven't seen. Frank has to cut his hair, yes?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Yes, everyone.
I can confirm that because it was on Live with Kelly and Michael before the season then started, and he said Karl would cut his hair, and then as I'm seeing this episode, I'm reminded, he's got to cut his hair eventually.
Right? We've been waiting for it.
If you've seen him on any talk shows, that might give you a hint as to what happens, but I can't say what
You can't. Everybody who comes here is like a damn vault. Trying to get it unlocked. Tell us something.
Well, I bring that up because as I'm watching, a bond has to be completed, and tonight, I don't know if it's fully completed, but it definitely helped. This is the nicest I've seen Frank.
Ever.
Yeah.
What a shock. It was so great to see him with Karl like that. And at the end, when he heard the police, I was for sure he was about to dip out. I was like, he's gone, for sure.
Well, the whole time he was still, what was great was he still was his manipulative self, where he's like, oh, but I cured you of cancer, and I did, doing all these things to get him on his side. No, you didn't. You lied the whole time.
I thought Karl was going to be like, I didn't have cancer.
Yeah. So, but yeah, at the end, I was like, please, just for once, do the right thing.
And the beauty is, too, is that you see him have that moment where he gets out of the van. There's almost like he's a second where he's like, am I going to?
Because his default is to
so
go.
it's like, that's a brilliant Bill Macy, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, to be a little bit shameless. Is it a long-term strategy because none of the other kids like him? So if he loses Karl, that's it forever. So you know what? He's going to take this one, but he'll get out of it.
I didn't even think of that. I was just trying to hope that in that moment it was 100% pure, but I could be wrong.
I was with you. I was trying to hope that too. But then when you said it, I was like, he's probably right. He probably knows.
Karl's all I got.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I just never know with Frank and even the SpaghettiOs. Like, hey, go make SpaghettiOs so we celebrate. Like, no, you're just hungry.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
No celebration.
Again, the writing, I love how they bring it back. Like, I kind of forgot about my foster gaze, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so a couple episodes back, and then it's great to have him, like, be brought back in again. I just love the writing, how they do things like that.
I love how the password was Karl.
Right?
Like, how did they know it was him? Well, it was Karl. Oh.
Yeah.
They were so smart to do that.
Yeah.
They were like this little like hoodlum kid coming in here. We got you. We
Yeah.
already know. So
Let me ask you this. I mean, the one moment of redemption for Frank was the fact that he didn't come up with this plan. It was really Karl. And, you know, was that his intention all along to Frank? Like, if I plant this seed into Karl's mind, knowing Karl is this demonic child, he'll automatically gravitate towards that? Or was that just him really reminiscing?
I took it as he was just actually reminiscing on that point. Like, he just, you know, was bonding with his kid, and then he thought this was a cool story to, you know.
Right.
I didn't think he was trying to plot something at the time, but
who knows
guess.
with Frank? I don't think so either. I think he was just like in his head and like having a moment, just sharing it with them.
Does Bill ever tell you guys his motivation on set or anything like that? What he's thinking?
I didn't have a chance to work with him. Most of my scenes were all with Justin, you know, so most of the time that I hung out with Bill was just off camera and just what little opportunity I had, but he's just a sweetheart.
Do the table reads in any way translate to what you see on screen?
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes it'll be very, very close. Sometimes brilliance will just happen that you never, you know, I mean, Steve Howey cracks us up every single week at the table.
said
He's
that.
unbelievable. I mean, he's just hysterically funny. And there are takes that I literally will hear at the table read that he'll do differently, like on tonight's episode where he said what the funniest way when he's like, I think she hit her with a car, and he was in the table read, he was like, what? And like everybody in the room fell over, but yeah, it's amazing to see how I mean, it's, you know, there are nuances here and there, and obviously they give you the production staff are incredible. They let you kind of figure it out, and you know, it's
How is Karl, and forgive me, I don't know his actual Ethan. How is Ethan in real life? We've never really discussed him.
Is a great kid. Just, you know, very much like Karl in that he was very full of life and mischievous and has that twinkle in his eye where you're just like, no. If I was your, and his dad's so laid back and cool. Like I gave Ethan a huge box of comic books. I'm a big comic book fan, so I wanted to pass it forward to him and get him like, hey, as long as you're reading, it's cool.
Right.
And I asked his dad, I was like, listen, I have these comics, you know, you think it'll be okay? You know, I've made sure it's not too violent. And he was like, are you kidding me? Have you seen the video games my son plays? Like, don't even worry about
Have
it.
you seen the show?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, but Ethan's a sweetheart. He's a great kid. He's definitely, but he has that Karl mischievous, that twinkle in his eye where you're just like, you are plotting something, dude.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, he's a great kid. Great kid.
And, you know, I love Karl, but at the same time, it just really worries me that this is the education he's getting ultimately.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like he's gonna end up like a serial killer or something, but with a big smile on his face.
Well, it's like Emmy says, she's like, okay, we're raising a sociopath.
Yes.
You know, like, or rather, like Fiona, the character said.
he can have a spin-off in a few years.
Right?
So ultimately, I'm worried. I mean, if Shameless even goes, let's say 8 seasons, which I'm hoping it does, I mean, to see
Absolutely.
Karl at that age is going to be insane.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to take Ethan, the actor, aside and be like, you know, this is fake, right?
Yeah.
This is not real life. Okay? All right.
And it's amazing to see too, because the kids, I mean, both you know, little Emma and Ethan and the two boys, Brendan and BJ, who played Liam. I mean, everyone's so paternal and so maternal of everyone. I mean, they just really take care of those kids, and it's a family. It really is. Like every show that I've ever worked on, I'd have to say Shameless by far. The staff and the crew and everyone, there's a big family. It's amazing.
Guys all
It's
say
really
that. It must be so fun to work on that show.
Oh, it's incredible, and just so much love, much love. It's amazing.
All right, well, wrapping that up, let's get into the meteor side of things, if we will. It wasn't bad. It wasn't intended to be a pun.
Yeah.
It was not intended to be a pun.
So meaty.
The meteor side.
My transitions are the worst because I try to think of ways to not make them horrible, and then they just end up going
I'm
there.
just curious which way you're gonna go. I'd be like, speaking of meaty, Noel Fisher. Or you're gonna say Cameron. I don't know. I was curious to see which one you're gonna go with.
We're gonna talk about Ian and Mickey and that relationship. That's the meteor side.
They
of
are
things.
very meaty.
Oh man.
All right, so we always discuss the look, right? That, you know, it's always been the burning question for Ian. You know, he'll give you the look. And today, I'm mad at you two because
Why?
well, because before they had their moment, before the wedding, you know, I was like, was that the look? And you're like, absolutely. And then he's going to go through with it. And his whole line is like, you know, it's just papers. Svetlana, it doesn't mean anything. Whatever. We could still fuck on the side.
It was still the look,
It
though.
doesn't negate the look,
Yeah.
Phil. The look is still real.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a happy ending with the look, but if you have the look, you know the
feelings.
love and the feeling is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But his dad
You
is
can't always
This feels like Bill Valentine all over again, where like just no, because Ryan Gosling in an interview about that movie said, you know, just because you have love doesn't mean it ultimately ends good. And Ian and Mickey,
It's true.
as
Love's
you guys,
messy, man.
yeah,
Love is very messy.
Oh, it so is. Jesus.
How amazing
would-
are those two guys
yeah.
too? It's just, geez Louise, they blow me away every week.
Every
Unbelievable.
week.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. They're
So
really-
honest, so clean, just so beautiful, just really, really touching.
And I was happy that we got the look again because I was afraid that he was just going to shut him down
I
and just like be
know.
closed off again and go off to his, you know, this new life. So I liked that we got a taste of the look.
And you know
and
the
then
look, right? You've given the look.
Sure, sure. It's that look where it's like, put the baby to bed. It's night time.
That's it.
Put the baby to bed. That's awesome.
that's one way of interpreting it. What I loved, for me, I love Cameron, and you know, who plays Ian, and just the way he was really hurt and trying to find himself in this, and you know, it's interesting how him and Ian are getting closer together, and in the sense that Ian's telling him stay away. You know, it's the
Yeah.
Malkoviches, they're just bad news, and obviously that's because of Karen, but you know, Ian doesn't listen,
Yeah.
and I feel. What's your guys' take on that? Like, obviously, you can't really. Your heart goes where the heart wants, as they say. But
I love it. I love that he went to the wedding because I am like super dramatic, romantic person. So I'm all about that. Go, break it up, stand up, throw something, make it stop. So I think it's great.
But he didn't get what he wanted.
But at least he made the gesture, you know?
Is that what it's all about? Just make
Yeah.
the gesture and that's it, and he'll come running back. Like,
I mean, they're gonna still like be together, I guess. I mean, I get where Mickey's coming from. Like, I get it when he was saying, I mean, he could die, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And I think there's a lot of people that can deal with that, have similar scenarios, you
Yep.
know, whether they're like on the DL or whatever, you know, where they got family that are like religious, whatever it may be. Like, there's so many people dealing with that conflict. So I think that really rings true to, you know, a lot of people. So they get it. They're just like, oh, yeah, I know.
I wouldn't do it.
My brother's madly in love with this, you know, but he told me he can't tell my parents or whatever, you know, it's like, all right.
and I'm still confused by Mandy not knowing. It's like, what the F?
Yeah, that's
well, she got
Me
it tonight.
too.
She
Yes,
got
she
it tonight.
did.
Yeah.
She got it.
But here, you know, what's tough for me is that it was tough for me to relate to Mickey, only because, I mean, I could see, because I'm looking at it from Ian's perspective in a multiple of ways, right? But I'm also seeing this shitty wedding. I mean, just look at it, how crappy it was.
Awful. Good song, though. Good song.
Yeah.
Great
Thank
song.
you.
That's what makes up for it. But you know what I mean? And so, you know, they really put an effort to make this as crappy as possible, and Ian's picking up on this, and for Mickey to not see that I think that's what ultimately hurt Ian, you know, and just this whole format. Like, it's not just supposed to be a piece of paper, it's supposed to mean something.
Right.
And that's what ultimately I feel hurt Ian.
Well, because Ian's the romantic too, you know. He's going there thinking, I'm going to talk to him, I'm going to tell him how I feel. We're going to probably do what they ended up doing, and then he's going to change his mind, and we can leave together.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like double trouble.
Well, what did you
Yeah.
guys think of that line where he says, Mickey says, we can't all go around telling each other about our feelings?
I think it was very important. I mean, I think I'm from the Midwest, and it's not. Other places aren't all the way California is. Being, you know, a lot of people are not that open and not really understanding of and respectful of other people's lifestyle choices. So I think I get it coming from where I come from. You can't, some places like that, you can't be free to be who you want to be, or, you know, you have a dad like him who's going to beat the shit out of him. And so for him, it's easier for him to just say, hey, it's just a fucking piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything to me. You and I can still get together. It's just like just quieting those people so he can ultimately
Right.
have what he wants.
And the piece of paper is ultimately for his father. You know, so they can
Yeah.
just keep on the flow of life. He's going to cheat. It's not like anybody thinks Mickey's going to get married and be faithful.
Yeah, right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? He just wants to like do that because of what he saw.
No, I get that, but I think, you know, for Ian's been raised in a household that wants better for everyone, right? They don't
Right.
want to end up like Frank, and so, you know, to not have the courage to stand up against your father, which, you know, the whole family's been doing against Frank, I think, you know, he's just seeing that weakness.
Right. And he just wants love. That's what we all need, you know?
I don't know. I think the Malkoviches are bad news.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
I think we've made that pretty clear in tonight's episode.
Yes, they pounded that one in this episode.
So, but where does, I mean, this is more of a prediction, but where does Ian, for you guys, go? I mean, can he go back to him? Can this be mended? I don't think it can.
It's just going to come down to acceptance. I mean, either you're going
On
to
whose part?
Ian's, because Mickey's married, so that's it.
Yeah.
Bye, next.
Divorce? You could get a divorce. No?
If he wants to die. But if he wants to I'm saying for Ian, I feel like he's just going to have to accept that Mickey's married and they're going to have this love affair that's secret. If he can handle that, then he can do it. Otherwise, he's just going to be like, I guess he's going to have to move on.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to handle it, is my prediction. I think it's going to be too much for him, and he's going to have to find another lover.
Here's the thing. I don't think, part of it is he desperately doesn't want that anymore.
No.
Ian doesn't want those secret relationships. I mean, start with Cash in the grocery store. Like,
Yep.
in the frozen food section.
Right.
Like, they were in that. And he doesn't want that anymore.
Yeah.
He's
He's
gone.
a romantic. He's a sweet kid. He just wants someone to love him,
In
Yeah.
public, preferably. Yes.
honestly and openly.
I mean, well, not that we have to go too deep into this, but does he necessarily need it to be, quote, fully public, or just be accepted in the sense that like if Mickey had told Ian, hey, I love you, would that be enough? Like, he doesn't have to go on the footsteps of whatever bridge or whatever, scream it to the world, but at least just to him.
I think that's what he meant
Yeah.
by saying we don't have to tell our feelings to everyone. I think that's what he was telling him. It's like, obviously I do want to be with you, but I just can't. And I feel like you said, so many people live their lives that way. People
Right.
are married, but doing all kinds of stuff on the side, and everybody just ends up accepting it. I know, I get what you're saying, because I'm not like that. I'm like, I'm gay and I'm proud and it's out. Everybody can get over it. But I get how people can do that. I'm not gay. I'm just saying.
Not that there's anything wrong with
There's nothing
that.
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do like prefer men. Thank you.
Fair enough. And before moving to our next topic, we do want to take the time to appreciate those who've been commenting and rating this entire season. We love seeing that. It's helped form our opinions. We love that you're on this journey of Shameless, just like us. And we got one more episode to go, so now's the time to leave your comments, because I want to know what you guys think before the finale as well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after, I want to hear that as well. But, now's a very exciting time to... It's not voting quite right, but it's commenting. So go on iTunes, rate, and comment.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about Karen. Poor Karen. She was never going to be the same. And obviously, you guys talked about her last week. I wasn't part of that, but
Yeah.
this... when Laura told us that we'd never see Karen the same again, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
And she's a phenomenal actress to have done what she. I mean, side of her
That was-
head shaved.
Yeah.
No, that was hard to watch a little bit, like having her in here and then seeing that and just, having to watch Sheila and Lip experience her like that. That was really difficult to watch.
Well, Sheila, unless you guys disagree, she was more accepting of the fact.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I feel
Where-
bad for her.
Whereas Lip is like, what the hell is this?
Well, I think maybe part
How
of
long is this going to last?
Yeah, Sheila might also be reminding her of the times, like she said, she's so nice now. Like when she was younger and a
Right.
baby, and she was sweet, and before she kind of got tainted into being like. So as a mother, maybe that's what she's like. Well, maybe this
I'll
isn't
take
so
it.
bad.
Please,
Like I have my
stay that
baby
way.
back.
Seems nicer.
A
Yeah.
snack and a smoothie?
Yeah.
Okay,
I can
no
do
problem.
this.
I mean, it's. Well, here's the ironic part is that ultimately, for Karen, she ended up what she hated about her child. Because Sheila says it's okay, we can use the word retard, and forgive me, but now Karen to a large extent is a retard.
She's a vegetable-ish.
Retard,
I'm gonna take
retard.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
Priceless. Absolutely priceless. Hearing Joan
word.
Cusack say that,
Right?
just amazing.
But with that face and such
Yeah.
enthusiasm, you can call him a retard now.
Just so, like you said, Midwest, just that Midwestern warmth, mom, like, oh, okay, honey,
Yeah.
oh, all right. Oh, no, we can
Yep.
say retard, honey, it's okay.
Exactly.
I love you.
Like you could tell Sheila that you were gay, and she'd be, "Oh, great,
Yeah.
fabulous! I'll get stickers."
that's hilarious. We got stickers. I mean, how did you? I want to zone in on the conversation that that Lip and Karen had, and obviously it was more Lip trying to have it with Karen. But Did you guys in any way think that Karen was coming to, that they were having this moment? Because, I mean, her responses were very generic. Yes. Yes.
I felt like she was, but she couldn't. It was as if she was telling him, yes, I hear you, but I can't emote like the proper way.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. I understand you, but obviously her memory's like in and out. You know, she can't react. So I felt like she was trying to tell him that, but she couldn't. That's what I felt.
Yeah,
What
I
about
felt
you
like
guys?
she said, like, you're in there somewhere. I just don't think that she's capable of coming out anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Great.
What did she mean, like, I can't feel anymore? Was that just, you know, throwaway in some sense? Or, like, what did that mean at that moment?
I think that's when I got a little like starting to think, is this being Karen still being kind of,
I thought
does
that
she
for one
know? Like,
second,
yeah, I
too.
was like, I wouldn't put it
So
past
did I.
her. Like maybe she's decided that now she wants Jody or she wants, you know, so she's kind of manipulating the situation again.
thought
But
that
then
too.
but then at the end, I don't think she really did. So,
Yeah.
But I thought with that line, maybe she's just like telling, which it also didn't make sense for me then because I thought she was saying like, I can't feel that I love you. Like I can't have the, but obviously something about her recognized that she did then. So
Yeah, I feel like she knew she was supposed to have a different response,
Yeah.
but she just couldn't do it, if that makes any
it's just
sense.
amazing how she plays that, though. Like,
Yeah.
It's just amazing that, like, I can watch it and be like, we all know she's fine. We all know Laura's
Right,
fine. But
right,
she's
right.
so good at just being like, okay.
Yes,
yeah,
that
I'm- oh,
stare.
yeah, I'm there. You know,
yeah,
it's just
yeah, yeah.
amazing.
She sold
Wonderful
it in the
job.
eyes for me.
yeah, totally. What do you think?
For me, what did I interpret out of that?
Yeah.
I felt at that moment she was trying to communicate and she was trying to tell him like, you know, don't love me, move on. You know, but it's always tough with I don't, you know, I
Oh,
never know
don't
how to
love
interpret
me. Okay.
because I mean. Let's go to who do you think's better, Mandy or Karen
The
for
burning
Lip?
question
And
every
forget like the fact that people got run over. Let's
Yeah.
go just pre
Are we going
Right.
vegetative state, Karen? or-
pre-vegetative state Karen.
Okay.
Well,
was
I think as a fan, speaking objectively just from before I even worked on it, I would have liked to have seen Karen come back with her world rocked with a little humility, and then I think that would have been a nice fit.
See?
Because I think we can all pretty much accept the Milkoviches are batshit insane. And
yes, they
to use
are.
the technical term. And so I think that's what we would hope. And unfortunately, when she came back and was we couldn't really tell, and and you could see in Sheila's character, she was really witnessing a lot of like what seemed to be, pure intention. This is like, well, then why would you go talk to the Wongs and this and then the other? So there's a
Right.
lot of that same manipulative behavior that you see. So I think ideally you'd like to have a humbled, with a new respect for the world, Karen. But I don't think Mandy's good for him at all.
Well, let's talk about this. Mandy kept bringing up the fact that I did your laundry, I did this, your applications. Whereas in tonight's conversation with Karen, he was saying, look at all the fun things we did, and I would use the word vandalism to describe. Well, no, I mean they
Vandalism can be
misdemeanor?
fun.
Romantic vandalism. Okay.
Right, romantic vandalism. But so what does that say about Lip ultimately in terms of what he wants out of a girlfriend?
He wants Karen. The look is with Karen. Period.
Yeah.
That's it.
So just to have fun, but you have to be
Vandalism
pragmatic.
in the Midwest can be pretty fun,
that's the-
actually.
yeah, I was gonna
Done
say,
it, like it can still
I mean,
yeah,
I think he, just like Ian, they both want love. I mean, I guess it makes sense to be with Mandy because she's helping him. But I'm so conflicted about her because it's like she hit Karen, but she did the college application. I don't know.
I am not conflicted about her.
Well, she's moved on to Kenyatta now, so
Yeah.
I think her and Kenyatta are gonna have a lovely life together.
And I gotta say, I started to get so mad at Lip when he was having that conversation at Karen by her bedside. Like, just to see that, like, I just think anybody who's had, like, a deep love that they've had with somebody, I could not be sitting at their bedside, seeing them like that, and then go and have
Yeah.
sex with the person that did that, And I know she, like, forced him.
Tried.
No.
Yeah.
I know. I just don't like. There's no. I just that was my part. I was getting a little mad at him because it just. I don't know how you could sit there and look her in the face and then go and do that and even let her in your house. I would just be like, get the fuck out! Like
bye.
you hit my. You. Yeah,
But I
that's
think-
just like crossing a huge line.
For sure.
A, I mean, he was raped. But B, I think he was also following Kevin's orders.
Okay, not even just the rape. I'm talking even just sitting there looking her in the face, having her be
Yeah.
at,
Right,
asking
okay.
to be in Fiona's dress and all the stuff that she was doing. I would just
Carry on as
yeah.
Okay, but again, I think so let's talk about that. Was he right to follow Kevin's orders?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
So then,
sure.
why? But then JJ doesn't think so. So
Oh,
go
no,
ahead,
she's
JJ.
saying that he shouldn't have had sex with her, right?
Well,
No,
he's
but-
saying, is he right to go ahead and like Kevin told him to keep her around, act like nothing.
Yes, because he might die, girl.
I mean, because she's crazy. Yes, he probably
Yeah, like
did
he
the
said,
right
he's at
thing,
DEFCON
but-
1. This is no longer about
like,
like,
it's hilarious.
I need to really be mindful of the psycho's feelings.
Exactly.
It's like, hell no, you get my goodness.
out.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
oxytocin stuff ain't no lie. That's all I'm gonna say.
So you guys are agreeing with JJ now. Kevin's advice was wrong.
No,
No,
I don't know. I don't know who's on which side anymore.
No, he was
no,
right.
you're right.
You need to cut the cord,
slowly
man.
back away.
Yeah.
And make it. And I think the brilliant idea: make her think it's her idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that though.
Well, now she's going to be
Behave
pregnant
that
with
poorly.
this baby.
Right?
That's my prediction. Oops. We'll get to it later.
I mean, it's you
Way to go.
Or
in terms of-
Kenyatta.
In
Or
terms of
Kenyatta.
strategy, how do you snip that cord? Because obviously, no matter what he was doing, there wasn't.
Turn her in to the police.
Yeah,
that would be
that's
what I
a
would
tough
do.
Yeah,
Then again, you've got her whole clan coming after you afterwards.
that.
True. True.
Yeah, you gotta understand this is different. You know, you're not in the Midwest where people are nice or whatever. Think Mickey. He'll have a gun to your head.
That's true.
Hey, yo, you took my sister to jail. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
With his
forget it.
new Russian crazy bride.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And the dad.
what could Lip do? How could have he gotten Mandy off his back?
Wow.
Minus the sex part.
I think everyone's at a loss.
yeah.
Yeah.
As good as mine, man.
Short of jail, I'm not really sure what the remedy is.
Yeah.
I
That girl
know.
is cray.
So does this end Mandy's storyline? Are they going to be seen together again? Like, was that it for Mandy?
That's it for Lip, I think. Oh, you mean Mandy on the show?
Well, in terms of their interaction, like, I mean, because what is she going to go say?
I don't
hey,
think
me,
so. I think she's going to be pregnant.
She might be. And she's not done either. She after Kenyatta, she gonna come back and then.
That's true. He didn't have a condom on.
Nope.
And why they gotta choose the name Kenyatta? What was that? So we say something to the writers.
No, it's really funny. Speaking of table reads, as I don't know if any of you know, Big Emma, as I call her, is British, who plays Mandy.
No way.
She is British.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
And
I
hearing
knew that.
her at the table read say Kenyatta, my boyfriend, I was like, honey, that ain't how we say Kenyatta.
Okay.
It was just really funny because it came out very clearly that her.
She's like, where's Shanola
This is
at?
my boyfriend Kenyatta. Like, damn, it'd be like Sir Kenyatta and shit.
She does such a good job because sometimes you can hear people's accents come out. I can't tell at all.
Yeah, Emma's
She does a
great.
great job. Good job.
That they are, but no, I mean, it's funny.
Crack me up.
But is that really it? Where does it go? I mean, here's my frustration.
Let it go,
It's a very
Phil. Let
wistful
it go.
question. You're like, is that the end?
No, because here's the thing. We were watching it, and I'm expecting 10 more minutes, and then just credits roll. I'm like, what? And I look to you, and I'm like, we need answers.
I know.
And he's like, I can't say a word.
We need,
We're in for a good episode next week too.
Oh, I can't wait.
So many questions.
I can't
So
wait.
few answers.
Oh my
cannot
goodness.
wait.
Steven's laughing in the booth. 'cause
Giggle, giggle.
all right. Well, then, but here's my frustration. Ultimately, I want to have a conclusion for fans because they look to us to
Or
the
for
answers.
Phil.
Well, no, all of us. And then when we don't have answers because there's no questions answered on the show because it's all a cliffhanger, then I get upset at myself.
Phil's not sleeping this week.
I'm not.
He's gonna be in bed. What's gonna happen to Mandy?
Will she
I
be
know.
back? Is this the end? No.
That's what I'm
I'm
upset
gonna text
about.
JJ.
All right. Well, let's move on.
Okay. Yes. Let it go.
I'm glad we answered so many questions.
Let it go.
Let's move on to your guys' storyline. Jimmy,
Oh, all right.
Beto, Fiona, Estefania.
What amazing work by Justin tonight. I've been waiting for that scene by the car all season. When we shot that, I was waiting to see that take all season.
Which one? Because there's multiple
When I
ones.
pulled Justin out of the car, and he did not want to get out because he knew that it was not a good thing. So when I pulled him out, it was really funny. We did that take a bunch of times. We ended up in like a slap fight at one point, and I was trying to pull him out. It was really funny, but it was he's just so honest and so open. I mean, I was literally sitting there, fighting as the character, and I'm like, at this point, our characters have sort of become friends. So I'm kind of
Right.
like, at least do this like a man. Like just, I know this is bad, but And it was really amazing to feel like, we both got really kind of emotional, and, even my mean guy got a little touched by that, and was kind of like, that's why I had to look at me, because we couldn't get the scene through, so we just threw that in.
Had like a bromance look.
Well, it's just one of those where it's just like, we know how this is going to go, and I'm going to make sure you go out like a champ, if that is in fact what's going to happen, because I actually don't know.
Because that probably isn't going to happen, right?
I know. That's the amazing thing is even the way they shot it, as you can see, it's sort of it's sort of left up in the air.
Yeah.
He got on the boat, but that's all we know.
And then he wasn't in the prediction for the next episode, so.
He was not. How much have you, because you've been sort of guiding him along in his journey, have you wanted to say more to him, to his, from your character's perspective, but held back? Like, how's your interpretation of guiding Jimmy been?
Well, first off, it was amazing. As the character was written in the script, it just said, Nando's right-hand man, a henchman, the largest one, a henchman with an acne-scarred face.
What?
That was Beto. That was all that was written. And then as we started working on it, the creative staff were just really cool, and they kind of let me do some different things and make some choices that were sort of unusual. And that's why I wanted to make him, like you said, as we were watching it. It's his job.
Yeah.
So like as we spend more and more time together, I hope as I watch the season, when I watch it again, that you see in the beginning it's more of a hard ass, and then as it goes on, it's more like dude, don't make me do this. Don't make me do something that I don't want to do. Which is I thought the scene when we were on the porch and he's telling me about Michigan and whatnot. That was what it was really. It's like we're boys, we're talking. Why do you think I'm the one who's making all the decisions here? I'm not. I'm just doing what I'm told.
Yeah.
So you do it too.
Oh, there it was. I saw Beto right there.
And that's what, that's where I wanted to kind of get it. And so that's why I thought at the end when we had that little moment before, I take him to the boat, was so much fun.
Yeah, because, again, for, in that porch scene from last week, to me, it was, for me, it really is a job. You're doing your job, and his job was to just answer the damn phone every time it rang.
Yep.
And granted, today it rang because of the damn shoes, first time. But then as soon as he rejected the second one, I didn't know where it was going to go, but I knew that it was a bad omen.
Something bad's going to happen.
I've liked watching how you played it too, like that you weren't just the henchman guy. What you just talked about. What was good for me as a viewer was I think I even predicted here once that I thought you were going to help get him out of like the bad, terrible situation. Like when it maybe did come down to Nando killing him, that you would be the one that would maybe turn your back
Hop in
against
and save
him,
him or
because
something.
But I like it because but the way you played it made you go there with those kind of like thoughts of what might happen.
I was literally just thinking the same thing. Kudos to you as an actor, because you could have like overdone that, but it was nice to see that you were like business about it, but you were still loving. It was conflicting. It's like Stockholm syndrome. You're like,
exactly. It's very much the just like that. You have someone who you have to do a job, and it's like.
But I think ultimately you were disappointed in him too.
Of course, because
he
how many times did I tell him? You're getting careless. Don't. If I were you, I stay out of trouble. If I were you, I'd do the same. I keep telling him. I keep giving him chances, saying you're gonna fuck up.
That was like your way of caring. But you're like, don't get it twisted. I will do what I have to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
It's like I will do my job.
Because I'm not dying for you, homie.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a lot of backstory and stuff that I thought about the character and where he came from and what his objectives were and long term and whatnot. And even when I talked about Fiona, and telling him like this chick is too good for you. She's
and
you're mistreating her.
That's good that you brought that up, because in many ways, you and Fiona are kind of alike in the sense that, Fiona has this idea of what Jimmy should do, and if he does it, then they can be together,
right.
For lack of to simplify things. But he's not doing it. He's lying at every step.
Yeah.
And what does she want, from tonight's episode? The one thing that she doesn't want is lies.
She said it last episode, don't be that guy.
And he's been literally lying the whole time.
Yep.
Like when he was like, Estefania can come to Michigan, I'm just like, and Fiona has zero clue. Oh,
and we've talked about it, like we were disappointed last time because we felt like she has always made the decision, like what he said to her tonight, I think is true. Like, she did
that
not.
Was true.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think she'll come around once she has a chance to like she's fiery, but then those words hit and she's like, you know what, he's right.
He was.
Yeah, he did. He was there by my side. I should have asked him. But the fact that what she can't handle is the lies, and so she's not going to be able to.
I thought her and Jimmy were going to be the same, but she stopped herself from sleeping with the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, she still got pretty frisky. I mean, not too frisky, but.
Well, yeah, but Jimmy went all the way through with it.
Yeah,
No.
I'm glad she got a little frisky.
And sometimes when I didn't think he
Me
had,
too.
like, even as a guy, you know, I was like, all right, that time, just because Estefania dropped everything and walked off naked, like, that still doesn't mean you have to go through
does
with it.
not
You know what I'm
mean-
saying?
Exactly.
Like, like as a man, I'm just like, dude, at some point you're gonna lose some. You're gonna
Like,
lose.
grow
some,
up. You ain't seen
We
boobs
said that
Yeah.
too. We were pissed about that. I was
Yes.
pissed about that episode.
Little head thinking for the big head.
It's like you already went there too. It's like this isn't somebody you haven't been with already. You've seen our boobs before. Bye.
Yeah.
You know?
That was great.
Steven from the booth laughing. Ah. But so getting to Fiona, I mean, you know, she's obviously torn between this. That was a big blowout, and yes, she didn't really consider him. But as she says to him, I'm gonna go with Fiona on this because you know, she's always been upfront with Jimmy.
Yes.
And he knew what he was getting into, and I don't think using the word slum.
I know.
Yeah, that's a bit of a.
You saw he caught himself too, and she was like, "Slum." He's all, "Yeah, I did say
As soon as
that."
it left his
Yeah.
mouth, he's like, oh.
Yep.
Too far.
Too far, but I already
escaped.
said it, so
Yeah.
let's go with it.
But I mean, you know, I don't think he. Where do you guys think Jimmy stands on this? I mean, does he really want to be a part of Fiona's life?
I wrote at the beginning that I was like, he does not want her and the family to come. He said it thinking she wouldn't do it. And he was like, oh, you turned a corner. Great. Like, I'm so excited, but no emotion on his face. So I don't really think he wants her to go. I mean, I think he wants
But I
to
don't-
have the relationship.
Okay, so the relationship, yes. So like
Yes.
after a year, they can resume what they currently have.
But I think he needs a breather. He needs a minute.
I think so too, and I think he would not have signed put the deposit down on the
Yeah.
studio apartment if he wasn't already in that mindset.
Was that for
And I think,
was that for Estefania?
I think that was for him.
Oh.
I thought that was for him.
The studio?
Yeah.
No, that was for him, man. I think. At least that's the way I took it. I took it as like he
don't
put an
think he-
apartment
yeah.
for a studio, fully intending never to have them go
Yeah.
be with him in Ann Arbor.
I think he
Which
kind
is
of.
a fantastic city,
Yeah.
by the way.
Check that out.
Michigan graduate, never mind.
Oh, no, I saw your Twitter today, Go Blue. I saw it.
Final four.
Well, for me, I think I obviously it could be interpreted that way, but I also think he was also making the plans of hopefully for his own sake, moving her as well to the studio apartment.
I don't know.
I took it as I kind of think he was missing the life of hanging out with the boys, and if he had that studio, he could go live there and be with the boys and go to med school and kind of still have some of his old life, but then he could take the 4-hour train ride back to her on the weekends and get kind of both lives.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. He wants everyone to know 50% of who he is,
Yes.
Yeah.
or less.
But it's like his dad said in the coming episode, when things get tough, he disappears. So he doesn't give his all to anyone.
He just likes that. He likes being independent, and clearly, being with the Gallaghers is not what you should. If you like
No,
your
no.
independence, being with the
Forget it.
That's what he's
Gallaghers.
aiming
No.
for.
I tell you what, I couldn't do it. If I met a dude with that situation, I'd be like, ooh, bye. See ya.
I love you, boo, but I'll see you after med school.
Okay? Right? Let me know when they grow up. Like, see ya.
Where does Fiona ultimately? Where does she go from this? I mean, she's. I love that she went on this journey. She had this temptation, but she chose not to act upon it. Ultimately,
Yeah.
I mean, forget the kissing. Fine, whatever. I don't consider that cheating.
Do you have a girlfriend? Because I hope she heard that.
Good to know.
Steven, cut my comments out. Well, all right. Well, you know what? Fine then. Fiona cheated.
She did a little
She
bit
did a little bit,
ish. I mean, she didn't
Oh,
go.
now we're drawing the line.
Well, put it this way: if the roles were reversed, she definitely would have been like, "You cheated." But I think in this instance, you could never be like, "Well, honey, I only kissed her for a little bit. You know, like, I got a
Exactly.
little bit of boob, but it's not that big of a deal." I'd be like, some dude's kissing on some chick's stomach, about to go downtown, and then you pull the plug on it. There ain't a girl in the world that'll be like, "Oh, you didn't do it though. Oh, okay."
It's
a double standard.
Be like,
It is true.
Sleep on the couch in the freaking alley behind the apartment.
Exactly.
And it would be different if Jimmy, though, hadn't been doing what he's been doing all
I
season
know.
long. So in this
Yeah.
case, I like to see it because I like I like to see how much like fun she had. Like when they played softball the
I
time
know,
before,
that's
like you
good.
get to see her outside being fun. And the thing that I don't like again is that Jimmy's kind of a pussy, and he's like, oh, I don't like camping, I don't like the bugs, I don't like the blah blah. Like he's just not manly, you know. And
No.
somehow like he's.
I need somebody to roll around in the dirt a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you don't want him to be too feminine, you know.
Yeah, well-
so I like that this guy brings out that side of her, and she's playful and fun.
Yeah.
And
know what?
Deb's loved it too.
Barring from the Karen and Lip relationship, what fun things have they actually done together? I mean, they met in a club, you know, back in season 1, and that was kind of their fun. Now, what do they do?
Good point, Phil.
Yeah, interesting.
They need to bring the spark back, huh, Phil?
They do. I mean, they have sex. That's
was
wonderful.
it?
But
That's what she loved about him originally, was that sort of naughty side, the danger.
Yeah.
You know, that's what she really
yeah,
dug
yeah,
about him. And then once he became Mr. Mom, you know, I mean, that's when she's like, you know, what did they say? Like, there's nothing sexy about a man with a mop. Which I think any
Right.
married woman would tell you that is not
That
true.
is not true. That is tell the baby to go to
Really?
bed.
Yeah, just be like, ooh, is that a
Put
Swiffer?
put the mop down.
Put the baby to bed, okay?
that is very
I like
true.
this new line.
Seriously.
I agree with you, and I think, you know, but what makes me angry is the fact that he used that against her, because you know, at the start of the season, I think he was having fun with it. He was finding this whole new life, and he was getting regimented, which, you know, his whole life has been about the weird, you know, steal and the excitement. I thought this was a new leaf, and he was like, you know what, this could be fun.
But that's how it is. I think in anything that's new, it's like, oh, this is so cool. And then stuff gets really hard, and you're like, wait, you about to like take on all these kids? And then when stuff got real, I think he
Yeah,
was,
but again,
like,
it angers
shifting.
me that, you know, you would think stealing cars, right? You're an adrenaline junkie.
Right.
But, you know, you don't think, then do something with this girl who is, to an extent, an adrenaline junkie. Like, you know, she'll steal with you. She'll do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Poor Fiona, I think.
Poor Fiona.
I think she's gonna do fine. I mean, I
is
kind of
she?
like. Well, I kind of like this new thing with Mike. I mean, her boss. It's like
Obsessed with
JJ was mentioning.
him.
Well, it's like JJ was mentioning. It's like you see her in a new light. You see her kind of happy and working, and like she doesn't seem so sad or
And stressed, right?
distressed. Yeah, stressed out.
Maybe now that Jimmy's gone, you can go roll on in there.
Yeah,
Drop
get
it
it.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, get that money, okay? Get it. Yeah.
I mean, you know where they live. You're great with Liam.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. I got to say, adding it's one of those things that happen on set that you're just like, who wants to see a henchman play with a baby?
Exactly. I'm like, what does Beto do on a Saturday? Like, what's his life like? What's he doing?
Aside from following Jimmy around everywhere he goes and
he have a
watching
girlfriend?
Looney Tunes on my iPad while he's in the coffee bean.
Not much.
Yeah, just pretty much that.
But no, you know, I gotta say, that was a great scene. We're like, who's in charge? You are.
The amazing thing was because BJ was the boy who I was working with that time. He's now, I forget who it was. I think it was Emmy who just tweeted not too long ago saying how as they grow up, they start repeating things.
Right.
So they start, you know, so I said, you know, who's in charge? Are you in charge? And he would just look at me and go, charge! Oh, no. And so I just started playing with him. We were just goofing off. So basically, like, I was just throwing the lines to Justin and just playing with BJ, you know. It's just like, you know, this seems between you and I, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, and like Justin just gets it at the end where it's like, you know, you need to get your shit together.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's
He's cute.
he's adorable.
Cute
They're both
looking.
adorable. Let's just
Oh,
see
yeah,
them
they're
together.
twins.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else you guys want to discuss on this episode, big or minor, that we might have missed?
I just think Emmy's work tonight was off the chain.
I mean,
Yeah.
she
Always.
always brings it.
Always, but there are moments, like especially when that scene with her and Justin, just amazing.
Oh, when she laughed and those tears, I was like, forget
come on.
it. Forget it. Where are the awards, people?
I know.
Yeah.
Please.
And she brings, I'll tell you, she brought it at the table read. I mean, even at the table read, you hear it, and like she's there and she's committed and she's present. And you're just like, oh shit, I forgot we were in an air-conditioned room for a second. Damn.
Right.
Yeah, she's got skills, man.
Yeah, she does. She does.
I thought you all were amazing.
No, very kind.
But let's talk about you for a moment. How did you get involved with the show? I mean, it's funny. It's great that you gave us that description of who Beto was supposed to be. I think that's hilarious.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I first auditioned, you know, they needed Brazilian actors, and you know, so I walked into the audition room and they said, you know, can you do a Brazilian dialect? And I was like, I think I can talk like every single one of my cousins. I think I can do it, which was a new experience for me because I found that, especially as it became that I was going to be in more and more more of the season, listening to it now, watching it back, I'm just like, how much of an accent does he have? Is it stronger or not as strong? And as you can hear, like I'm born in New York City, so. So that was interesting. But I went in and I did the character, and it just kind of took off from there. I mean, I did the one episode, and then it kind of got rumored around that I was going to be in more and more and more.
Nice.
And yeah, man, I mean, it's just been an incredible ride.
So when you auditioned, it was for one episode?
It was for, they said it would be probably 3, and it turned out to be 9.
That's so awesome. As an actor, I'm
as an
sure
actor,
you were
it's
like,
one of those you're like, yes, glass diapers. Not for me, for my son. Not yet, anyway. Many years before that.
Okay.
But yeah, so I just auditioned, and then I think I had like 1 callback, something like that. And
One?
Then, yeah, I think so.
Nice.
I think so. Yeah. And then started working, and
Was your callback with Justin, or did they do it?
No, I'd never met. Honestly, the first time I met the cast for reals was I think 1 episode in, not even at the table read. At the first table read, I didn't really meet everyone. I mean, Emmy comes up and introduces herself, and so other people and so forth. But it wasn't really until John Wells had a premiere party at his house. And I was like,
nice.
holy crap, I got invited to that.
heck yeah.
I rolled up in there so happy, and got to hang out with everybody, and that was, it was unreal. But it was just one of those weird things, man. You audition, and as actors know, we audition all the time, and you'll get callbacks all the time, and sometimes you'll even go to the very last one, and then
Never hear a word.
Well, yeah, not only that, I had one where I went to producers and directors and all this stuff, and then they cast somebody who didn't even audition. They just offered, and that happens all the time too. Mm-hmm. But every so often, when the stars align, and
Yeah.
as my mother says in Portuguese, é Deus, it's God. It's God's
Yes, it
will.
is.
Speaking of God, though, I think I did notice one of my shows I used to watch too, Rescue Me.
Indeed.
And did you not play Jesus?
I was.
On this Easter Sunday? Let's bring that up. Right.
As my mom told me today, he is risen. Yes, Mom, he's risen.
That's right. That's right.
Yep, that's right. In a former life, I played Jesus Christ on Rescue Me in season 2.
Praise
a very irreverent Dennis Leary version of Jesus Christ, one who toted a shotgun and drove a Lamborghini, and whose girlfriend was Mary Magdalene.
Got to keep up with the times.
But yeah, that was another lifetime ago. But yeah, great show. Too. Great show.
Good show.
You're a voice actor as well.
I am.
I mean, as evidenced by this accent in the show.
Yeah.
What do you like? I mean, is that fun for you? I mean, you must enjoy it. What's your favorite accent, if you had one?
My favorite accent.
Because you did Rio. You got Rio 2 coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got Rio 2 coming up, and I'm doing my son's 18 months old, and one of his favorite shows is a show on Disney Junior called Doc McStuffins. And so on Tuesday, I will be playing a French ocean explorer.
No way!
Who is on Doc McStuffins. I'm a brave ocean explorer, yes. And so once again, I'm doing the tour of the world of dialects. So yeah,
awesome.
I love doing voice acting. It's a blast. I get to do all my funny different voices, and sometimes it's screaming during Call of Duty and saying, grenade, get down, or something ridiculous, But yeah, I love it.
On movies like Rio, do you get to interact with the other actors, or do you? Is it just,
it's really funny.
so did you meet Anne, or?
Well, at the party we did. I met
Okay.
Anne very briefly, and Rodrigo Santoro, and my wife's very excited because I just recorded Rio 2, and our new favorite little music is Bruno Mars, and he's in Rio 2.
Oh yeah.
So my wife is like, I'm gonna get to meet Bruno Mars, and I'm like, yes, honey, yes, you will. But
this voice, baby.
yeah, right. Well, it's funny because I did 7 characters in Rio 2, and I record them, and then they'll take and leave. He said I'll probably end up with 2 or 3 or something like that. But it's you have to have enough variation, so they'll have people double some things and see which ones work and which ones don't. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really excited. And anything, I mean, especially Rio, because it's my culture. Both my parents are from Brazil. All my extended family is in Brazil, all over the map. But it's the first thing that I ever really was able to be like, this is for my son. When he's growing up, I can be like, this is, your grandma and grandpa's culture. This is, where they came from and all this stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Very nice.
I read that you have a large family, but it didn't say how many brothers and sisters do you have?
Well, I have one. I myself have just one younger sister. My sister Julia is an attorney in New York, who's actually getting married this month.
Congrats!
So, yay, Jules, you rock. And
I hope
Chris,
it's not a wedding like Mickey's.
I know,
Just
right?
about to say
I'm sure it's gonna be just like that. Just like that. No, but I have only one sibling, my sister, but my mother is one of 10 children, and so I have almost 30 first cousins on my mom's side. And then on my dad's side, I have a few more. So it's it's
Big
always
party.
a challenge. Oh yeah. And it's I go to Brazil. We just basically go to my grandma's house and just everybody just comes in and filters in to see the gringos. We're just like,
I love it.
we're here.
Anything you can relate to the Shameless household then a little bit.
Just people running around and loud all the time. But my grandma is still puttering away and just trying to feed everyone. We're just like, honey, my grandma, sit down.
Sit down, girl. Right?
But no, it's much more serene. But yeah, I come from a humongous family in Brazil. They're all very, very, very supportive. So I'm very lucky.
Awesome.
I'm very lucky. Yeah.
And what drew you first to the show? What did you like about it? Did you start from season 1 or did you kind of catch up?
I did. No, I started from season 1, which is weird. I'm trying to remember how I got into it at first. I think we just kind of. I think I saw Bill and Emmy, and I was just like, all right, well, I got to check it out.
Check it out.
And then when I realized how incredible the support, the rest of the cast were.
Especially at that
Jeremy,
age.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You see. Little Emma Kinney is just phenomenal. She plays Debs, and there's just. I'm
love
just
her.
like, how did you learn that at your age? How did you? And just seeing her just this year, grow up so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just waiting for next season. I'm going to be like, my gosh, you're like a woman. You're like a young woman. This is crazy. But they're just such amazing actors, and
What did you take take away from the cast? Having Bill and Joan and Emmy among all the others. What did, obviously you didn't necessarily get to interact with those guys, but from the table reads and just your interaction, what did you take away?
Well, I got to interact quite a bit with them off the set. I didn't get to work with them per se, which is sort of sad for me, but God willing, someday there'll be another opportunity. But the main thing was just how cool they were. Joan especially. everyone's phenomenal. Everyone's incredible. But I watched the election at Joan's house this year. Joan had us over. When we went the first time around, Joan had us over to her house and had Chinese food, and a torrential downpour broke out, and we're like, don't worry, we'll call a cab from the hotel. And Joan's in her nightgown in slippers, and she's like, oh no, honey, don't worry, I'll drive you here. Get me a car, don't worry. And I'm riding shotgun with a freaking Emmy nominee, And I get home and I call my wife and I'm like, did anybody else get driven home by an Emmy nominee tonight? Right? But that's Joan, and Bill's the same way. They're just giving normal, cool people. I tell people what's Joan like? I'm like, you ever had that friend in high school who you'd go over to his house and his mom would be like, hey honey, how are you? You hungry? Let me make you something. That's Joan. Just the sweetest mom you'll ever meet. Bill's the same way, just funny, playing his ukulele,
Yeah, that's what they said.
just a sweetheart of a man, and that goes for everybody.
I
literally
love to
nothing
hear that.
bad to say about anybody on the show. They're just, and that's crew included. Everyone's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, you said something interesting too. It made me think of it. Can you talk about what you said to us before about your shooting schedule when you went to Chicago and how many episodes you guys did?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We go to Chicago for a week twice. We do 6 episodes in a week, and then we leave and we come back. We went in August, and then we went back in November. And we did a week each time, really more like 5 days. But there's 2 units shooting, and you're just shooting nonstop.
That's what I hear. Quick, right?
Oh, so fast. And most of my stuff, I was, in the Escalade or parked out someplace or whatever. So I was mostly in Chicago. So I was running around like a crazy person in Chicago.
I'm just
Love that city, by the
amazed
way.
at the
Chicago's
work.
amazing. I'm a New Yorker, but I fell in love with Chicago. I loved it. Oh yeah, loved Chicago. Yeah, even though I went to 4 years of school in Michigan, but Chicago blew my mind, man. People are so nice and just so very welcoming of the show. Very, very, just they love it, and really, really cool people.
That just shows you the level of acting. If they shoot that fast and they get that quality, it's they're just good. Period.
Yeah, they're really lucky. They got something special. They got a good group of people on there, And like you said, even the kids, they're just phenomenal. Just amazing.
Well, let's get into predictions. Our favorite part, every actor's favorite, most hated.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right. So feel free to nod or say yes if
Anything.
One blink
Or
is
just
yes,
spill the
2
beans.
blinks. Oh yeah, right.
Well, the toughest part is the fact that everything's kind of centered around Frank, and in terms of what we got, and we don't know what's going to happen to Jimmy and things like that. But there's so much mystery. Again, I kept asking questions. What's going to happen to Karen? What's going to happen to Mandy? What's going to happen to Mickey? What's going to happen? We don't know. All we know is that Frank could be reforming, but doesn't want to reform, and.
But we see him with a doctor. We know that. We saw a
Yes.
doctor talking to him, and he says something about what if I don't want to or something like that. So we know something.
Well, he has to give up on
Yeah.
alcohol.
He
We got that
won't.
little bit. Yeah, I can't. So
He won't. Let's wait. No, nothing. Okay.
You have to remember too. There's a lot of stuff that that'll be brought up next week, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to get resolved next week. So
No,
there's a lot of
But we have to be here. My big thing is we have to be left with a resolution of some sort. You know what I mean?
Some sort, right?
He's gonna clean it up and get his hair cut.
The haircuts for the finale.
I mean,
Obviously.
where is this going? I have no idea.
I know.
But do you think it's gonna? Are we gonna be overall happy or overall sad? I feel like we have to be overall happy.
I'm going to be sad. I'm always sad at the finales because it's like I have to wait so long to see
But
what
aside
happens
from
next.
that,
Okay.
but because last season we ended on such a sad note that they can't do that to us again.
I don't know.
You have to bring it back up
I
just
think
a
they
little
might.
bit.
I think I'm going to be crying next
It's
week. Bring in
shameless,
tissues.
man. It's
Bring in
shameless.
tissues.
Yeah.
I mean, we solved coma. That's a happy note. No, anyway.
No.
I had 4 comas this week, so I don't know.
Exactly. Oh, get it, girl.
Just joking.
All right.
Oh my god.
Somewhere there's a dude with
Learning
terrible TMJ.
Oh, he's cutting us off.
Oh my God, we're total overtime.
We've come to
Being played off.
Good show, man. Good job.
Thank you.
I don't
guys
know.
for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much for coming.
Please, thank you for having me.
Here's why I really ultimately don't care that we don't give predictions, because no matter what prediction we give, it's going to be wrong. Because right?
And Brian's
They always
amazing.
turn it.
Well,
Yeah.
they do in the sense because no matter what we can predict, they go like 10 steps beyond it and take it to a whole new level that we could have never predicted. Why? Because it's brilliant writing.
Right.
Exactly.
And if the cast had literally looked at the script and we have no idea, if you guys could guess it, good on you, man, because we're always like, what? Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, you know,
But we know it will be shameless. That's the one thing we
Yes.
can always predict.
Indubitably.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Where
Thank you so much for having me.
Where can fans find you on Twitter?
On Twitter, you can find me at @Nardo2323.
Excellent. And JJ?
I'm at JJ Jurgens and at jjjurgens.com.
Drea Renee _N, and happy belated birthday.
Oh,
sir.
thank you. Thank you.
I didn't even realize that. See?
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday from all of us.
Have a shameless birthday.
I know. All right, and you can find us here at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here for the finale. Don't be sad. We'll try to get through it together. I guess that's it.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.